My name is Chad Haldeman. My artist handle is Cold Tony. I was thinking of how I wanted to do a different art project that had more meaning and more, conversation. I wanted to have people show their visions in something that was meaningful. And what I was seeing happen around us is just the constant tear down and buildup of unaffordable housing. So I created this idea. At first it was changing ATL because I wanted it to be a positive thing. I didn't want to be all negative and, oh, the past is gone. I wanted it to be more like, we are here. This is our future. And we're all in this together. We're not going anywhere. And it's the people that I think make this city the best. So by having this art show and bringing, I think it's almost 20 different artists, between artists and photographers and sculptures. I just wanted to showcase all of our viewpoints on what's happening in the city we all love. And I talked, with my other coworker, and he does live hip hop and works with Soul Food Cypher and does all kinds of great events. And I was like, man, this would be perfect because not only is it going to be art, it's going to be an experience. People are going to talk about it. And it just kept rolling up and getting bigger and bigger. People hit me up and said, hey, I want to be a part of this. People would tag my tag on Instagram, and I started to think, this is bigger than me. Maybe I should just keep it going. So I've really stepped back and thought about, this project could be more than just one night. So I'm looking for the future because that's the main thing I wanted to do is yes, these things are bad and they're holding us back, and maybe it's, it's at a lost cause at this point, but it's not, because where I live, I know my neighbors. I love my neighbors. I think that's the biggest part, is that people move into this community that has been there forever, and they have no understanding of what these other people who've been there have gone through to stay there, and now they're just pushed out like nothing. And I just wanted to give that a voice. The project just got bigger than I thought it would, and I feel it's because I've never been in a community, I'm in this art community that everybody helps each other out, and we know each other, and it's the city, but it's so small because I know everybody, and they're great, and they're nice, and they have that hometown feel, and I don't want that to be pushed away. I want people, when they move into their new place, they should meet the people next door. They should be talking to them, know your neighbors, know who's around, and don't, just jump to say, oh, that's somebody who's troublesome. That's the hardest thing, that people that have been there longer are looked as strangers in their own areas these days. So tonight is just a one-night event that we're going to showcase art. It's all for sale. But it's more about the experience. There's some of the artists I worked with. I gave this guy DIY DC. His Instagram is at DIY_DC. We were talking about this change and how important it was, and I gave him an idea to make a fake model of an old masquerade and then rip it apart, and it would be destroyed. So he actually made a perfect model of it, and then we're gonna just have it for one night only. You're gonna be the construction person that rips it down. So yeah, the money goes straight to the artists. The performers go, the money goes straight to the performers and the people, the doors and the lights. So we had to set it up. This is not an art gallery. Most art galleries take a commission, and they aren't, I don't know any art galleries that are an old historic place. I really wanted to set out to make a gallery within an old historic building that is, still here and still has that feeling and passion in those walls that haven't been taken away yet.
This poem is called Displaced by Your Disappearance. You buried my heart beneath your rubble, beating memories deserted in another time. This place, changed by your contradiction, building nothing but facades, covered in your morals, nothing too edgy, a picket fence, painted in the shade of fear, tagged with anxiety. You wrecked my wall, bulldozing into the unknown, boundaries of your tradition, fortified the future of regret, excavating a bleakness of routine. Wondering why we settled here. The dust asked me, what have we? Lost in the haze of damaged dreams, believing in your plan of plans, left me looking back, bewildered. Who am I? Where are you? When are we?
We're coming down in all directions, antennas facing up, detecting radiation. We're coming out in all directions, antennas facing up, detecting radiation.
I'm the middle child, in the middle class, stuck between the dichotomy of this and that. Left my town with dreams of living life like rappers do. Came back and what we listening to isn't rap. Having to explain this and here isn't that. Somebody got Atlanta producing a different track, featuring Lil Woo, maybe it isn't bad. When I feel stupid listening to it like this is trash. More you dumb it down, more we learning things. Waiting on my time to fly, I got virgin wings. Mad barbecue, that's turtle wings. Manufacturing crowns for undeserving kings. Real leaders understand what a servant means. I stay up all night long, I'm rehearsing dreams. The more I cater my passion, the less I get my passion. So if I'm at the mall, I'm probably returning things.
We're coming out in all directions, antennas facing up, detecting radiation. We're coming out in all directions, antennas facing up,
I'm gonna use some bars real quick.
radiation.
I'm slowly approaching Nova Scotia. Temperatures below zero in each letter I wrote you. Rappers in hotels, Transylvania, but never fear bloodsuckers get home and see nothing in the mirror. Vampires with diaries, all I'm seeing here. The sun is shining, it's burning, it's silent. I love to see you make it, I would not allow you to rule me with hatred. I take it easy though, I can rap nooses around your favorites. You don't want to see me black out, energy of Bruce Lee is back out. Everyone is a target, I promise the referee gon' tap out. I'm taking notes from a dragon slayer, I got it mapped out. These rappers only got 5 beats for words dumber than a sack of sand. Guess that's how they build a glass house. I got the fireman that make a fireman wanna retire, man. You witness in a small fish in the sea turning into Leviathan.
We're coming out in all directions, antennas facing up, detecting radiation.
Long time ago, right? In this weird time we call the 90s, there was this place called East Lake Meadows. Has anybody heard of it? Yeah. All right. So for those of you guys who don't know, all right, I grew up, again, I'm from King Williams. I'm from the east side of Atlanta, East Atlanta, Decatur area. East Lake Meadows was the most violent place in the United States. Its crime rate was 18 times the national average. Everyone wants to talk about Cabrini Green. Everybody wants to talk about New York and Brownsville. Nothing was on this little small part of nowhere in the middle of Decatur, Georgia. All right, so me in particular, growing up as a kid, I always wanted to know what happened to all the people who used to live in this housing project. I would pass by every day with my mom and my brother on the bus as we went into the city every day. All right, so it kept nagging at me, right? So every day I'm thinking about it. For years now, what happened to all the people? Just one day you see something, all of a sudden it misses, right? So one day you go buy something else, something's missing. I go to the grocery store, another person's gone. I go to the grocery store, another person's gone. I go to the gas station, another person's gone. So as I got older, I went to Georgia State University. And at Georgia State University, all right, there we go, we got a couple. At Georgia State University, I met a couple other people who was just as stupid as I was to decide to make a documentary. All right, and we thought we were gonna do a 2 or 3 minute documentary because that's what you do when you're 18. You are stupid. And you decided I can make a full documentary in 3 minutes, right? And so we decided we were gonna make our documentary on gentrification. And we didn't know what gentrification actually was. What we said was we wanted to know what happened to all the people who lived in East Lake Meadows. So for the last 20 years or so, people have just been trying to figure out what's going on in Atlanta. Everyone hears things. And all of a sudden, we're sitting here today because of all the people who've been displaced from Atlanta. And I want you guys to understand something, all right? When we talk about gentrification, we're really talking about one thing and one thing only. Does anybody know what that is? Somebody say something. You guys look smart. Say something. Come on, loud. We got money. Okay, what else? We got race. All right, we in Atlanta. That's real. What else? Anything else? Poverty. All right. So all these things roll together, right? So does anybody understand what gentrification actually means? All right. Okay, that's honest. I appreciate that. All right, so gentrification, we'll keep this real simple. Gentrification is essentially the movement of the middle class into areas that are either occupied by the working class or the poor. I know we've heard working class a lot in the election. We're not going to get into the election. That's for you guys to handle on your own in the parking lot. Fight it out. I don't care. We're not talking about that today, all right? All right, so the reason why we're talking about gentrification and Atlantafication, particularly because Atlanta is a culture. Atlanta is something I represent, is something you guys are here for. We're here for the art that Tony put everybody here for, because the culture in Atlanta and the art is representative of people who've been poor and working class for a real long time. All right, and the reason why I said we're talking about gentrification is if anybody knows the history of gentrification, it really comes from one word in particular, which is gentry. Has anybody heard of gentry now, right? All right. And so gentry is an older word. It actually is based on the word out of the French language, which is gentiri, which means of noble birth. And so when we talk about gentrification, we're actually talking about literally the moving of the nobles into land of the serfs. It is the simplest definition. If you want to keep it easier, it's when the rich move out the poor, which is why it has such a negative connotation. The reason why we know this is because we can go back to the 1800s and actually see gentrification in textbooks and in books dating back to England. All right, so if anyone else asks you why gentrification seems so negative, well, it came from a negative place. It's nothing new here. But the reason why we're here today is because we want to know, when it comes to Atlanta, we have a big system of have and have-nots, right? Tony's brought a lot of people together who represent the have-nots through their artwork and through their culture. I represent through film and what you guys are going to see my documentary, which is entitled The Atlanta Way. The Atlanta Way is a documentary showing what's happened to the last 20 years of people who lived in public housing and how gentrification, removing all these people from Atlanta, has caused this new Atlanta that we see today.
I'm going to perform a song called Dreamweaver. And I hope I remember everything from this damn song. I think that I will. So if you're ready to hear another song, the last song for the night, bring yourselves to the front, okay? So Cole, Tony, you can go ahead and cue it up. Yeah. Yeah. Whoa. We dreaming and weaving. We dreaming and weaving. I cannot front, I'm taking my mind, I'm bullshit and drama. I cannot front, I don't have the time, and fuck how you feeling too. You tell me I can't, but then you go do what's so hypocritical. I did it in the past, but not in the present, your feelings so critical. I shut down the chat, grabbing the book, I'm no longer digital. You did the same thing like 2 years ago, I've already forgiven you. I've humbled myself, I've bended my knees, I'm feeling so pitiful. You tell me to go, but then you come with it, I just can't get rid of you. The feeling is mutual, don't know what the future holds. You know where my future goes. Women that's down the road, yeah, Xanax and Adderall. I swear you want me to fuck. The vibe is just gone, I focus at all, just party and bullshit. The dream is not real, we feeling ourselves, frontin' with wealth, but money not dealt, the credit is up. It's all that we know, all that we live, but it's for real. It's all that we know, all that we live, but it's for real. Yeah.
We weaving and dreaming.
Yeah.
We dreaming and weaving.
Whoa.
Oh, fourth is the hood.
It's home to the secrets, I swear that you'll keep them.
We dreaming and weaving.
Whoa.
We weaving and dreaming. Oh, fourth is the hood. It's home to the dreams. I swear that you'll see them.
Tell me the dreams you had in the night with darkness and light before they take flight. Watch all them die, you telling them lies to only yourself. Fuck how you felt, look how you feel. All of them dreams will never be real. Stuck in your mind and wasting your time with no time to heal. This shit is too real. Fuck how she feels. Fuck all your friends that don't get a grind. Wasting their time on Friday and Saturday, Sunday, the fun day that took on a Monday. Not to the 5, for the next 5, the party on weekend so you can feel live. Stay on the competition, right in eyes. Every time the speaker started by, feeling like fuck my life. I can't wait more time. I must write more rhymes. She just wants more time. Eat music and write lines. Snapchats, Tesla's brain. Right in the mood at any damn thing. Give me more stories to write about. I will not censor words out my mouth. I'm just saying what they don't talk about. And people try killing the vibe. And this is the life that we reference all day. Dreaming and weaving and dreaming all day. Alter your ego with angels and demons. And this what you get when the aliens are seeing.
just like I'm willing to die.